I am sick to death of Mauricio Pochettino. I cannot stand the man. And let's be totally honest here. We are no better under Pochettino than we were under Graham Potter. In fact, I would go so far as to say that we were better under Graham Potter. Graham Potter is a better manager than Mauricio Pochettino. Also, bear in mind that Graham Potter had no pre-season, whereas Pochettino did. Graham Potter had basically no option to spend any money. Pochettino spent, 400 million quid. He oversaw the spending of 400 million pounds, and this is what we are served up. At least under Graham Potter, there were moments. There were moments to enjoy. There were performances that will remain in our memory forever. You know, beating AC Milan home and away. That's significant. It's symbolic. Going to the San Siro and winning. It matters. And Graham Potter oversaw that. There were others. We knocked Borussia Dortmund out of the European Cup. Again, that is a very significant, symbolic moment from Graham Potter. Under Pochettino, what have we seen? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not one player has improved. There has been nothing to cling on to. And let's face it, Mauricio Pochettino is totally and utterly done at Chelsea. He's a Tottenham man. He is so Tottenham, it's unbelievable. He clearly wants to be at Tottenham. He was flirting with Tottenham just before we played them. That was the despicable act from the Chelsea manager, to have the audacity to talk about a desire to be the Tottenham manager when you are the Chelsea manager on the eve of playing at White Hart Lane. It's unforgivable for me, and he should have never, ever been given the job. Let's remember as well, Mauricio Pochettino, his record is so average. I have no idea why we are all so kind to Pochettino, to his legacy. It's a myth. It's a complete and utter myth. He is so average. Nowhere near the top tier. Absolutely nowhere near. Not even in the conversation for a top tier manager. His crowning glory was bottling a Champions League final after 24 seconds. That's the jewel in the crown. That's who he is. That's what he represents. Mauricio Pochettino took Tottenham to a Champions League final and bottled it after 24 seconds. That's Tottenham. It represents Tottenham perfectly. It's a microcosm of Pochettino as well. That is the antithesis of Chelsea. What did Chelsea do in the European Cup? Chelsea go to Munich to beat Bayern Munich in their home ground. Unser Pockel and all that. That's what Chelsea do. Chelsea fight the tide. Fight the odds. You know, against the odds, we can do brilliant things. Tottenham capitulate. Tottenham are the very definition of capitulation. That is why Tottenham have won 2 League Cups since 1991, despite being a brilliant team in that period. Under guess who? Pochettino. He capitulates. He capitulates. He wilts. He is not a winner. He is actually, if we're totally honest, he is a loser. The man himself is a loser. And I don't mean that in the emotional sense of the word. I'm not sort of cussing the geezer going, you're a loser. I mean, he is factually a loser. He is a man who loses. He loses when he is challenged. Think about it. Think about who he is. He loses. He was at Tottenham. What did he win? Nothing. Therefore, you can extrapolate that he's a loser, right? Went to Paris Saint-Germain to take charge of one of the most glamorous, the Harlem Globetrotters of football. One of the most razzle-dazzle teams that has ever been assembled. One of the most dazzling front lines ever assembled. Who wins the league? Yilmaz and Lille. That's what Pochettino witnessed. Did he win the Champions League when he went there? That was the whole point. No, he did not. And the fact that he is at Chelsea, it really is simply painful. Pochettino is at best, a valiant loser. Or he's simply a loser. At Tottenham, he won nothing, and people constantly talk about what he achieved there. It makes no sense to me. It honestly makes absolutely no sense to me. People will talk about the team that he assembled. People will talk about the fact that maybe they managed to accrue more points than anyone else over 2 consecutive years. Maybe they'll talk about the dazzling team, the vast array of talent that he managed to get. Did you see some of the football being played at the Lane? If all that is true, and I will contest it, but if all that is true, then it is a disgrace that they didn't win silverware. It's a disgrace that they managed to accrue more points than any other team over 2 consecutive years and win nothing. That's failure. How can we somehow position that as something to be impressed by? That is not a success story. Winning nothing with a good team is actually the hallmark of being a bad manager, surely. And yet he won nothing at Tottenham. People will tell you that the team was so good. People will tell you that it's an improvement. I've just seen the geezer lose finals. He lost Chelsea, but we done them. John Terry scored, didn't he? We done them in a final. They didn't even turn up in their other final. And now it's looking like we're going to capitulate in a semi-final as well because of Pochettino. And until he is sacked, this is never going to change. You know, you look at his Chelsea record. Just look at it this year. 12 wins, right? Pochettino has managed 12 wins as a Chelsea manager. 12. All season, all comps, 12. And now we put it in a bit of context. 5 of the 12 have come in the cup. 3 of those are against lower league opposition. 3 of those are against AFC Wimbledon, Blackburn Rovers, and Preston North End. The first time in the League Cup that we've been drawn away from home, we've been beat. We got so lucky in the draw. We avoided Fulham. We avoided Premier League opposition. We desperately avoided Liverpool. We got so lucky. Everything went our way. Everything went our way in the 90 minutes as well. Couldn't have asked for more in the 90 minutes. It was the perfect opportunity for us. We were very lucky that VAR wasn't installed in the ground. Couldn't have gone better. And what do? You know, we were so lucky, in fact, to even be there. When you think about what happened against Newcastle, you know, we didn't create much against them, did we? And if it wasn't for Kieran Trippier making a complete pig's ear of it, we wouldn't even be there. You know, we beat them on penalties. So it's over. And if you look at why we lost, if you analyse exactly why we lost, it was last night, the Middlesbrough victory was as much a victory for passion as it was for anything else. It was a victory for heart. It was a victory for who wanted it more. It wasn't a victory for anything else. It was a great demonstration of what team wanted it. And I think, again, that comes down to Pochettino. He's clearly not capable of motivating these players. Last night, heart and desire. Heart and desire shouldn't win games if everybody is putting in the same amount of heart and desire. But if only one team is demonstrating those two qualities, that team will win the game. And guess what team were demonstrating it last night? You know, Chelsea have lost 5 of the last 6 away games. Pochettino. How many problems here can we identify and totally put at the door of Mauricio Pochettino? The buck stops with the manager. If Chelsea have a pitiful away record, why is that? The manager is setting us up wrong. 5 defeats in 6 away games. Like, there's no plan, is there? There's no plan. Who are we? I don't even know. I honestly don't have a clue. And I don't think that he has a clue what his best team are. Playing players out of position time and time again. Like, how many positions did Cole Palmer play himself yesterday? Like, playing him as a false 9, like, he isn't that. Don't play him as a striker. It's all very well talking about the chances that he missed, and I know that he will be heartbroken with those. But he is not a centre forward. Then he moves him. He becomes a right-sided forward, and then, towards the end, he was out wide on the right in a sort of deep role. 3 positions in the same set of 90 minutes for a young player who's brand new at the club. Like, take some responsibility, Pochettino. Throw these kids in a deep end. You know, you then got Levi Colwill. Levi Colwill playing as a left-back and getting caught out time and time again. Levi Colwill was done, totally done by Isaiah Jones. Isaiah Jones battered him, didn't he? But it isn't Colwill's fault because everybody knows that Colwill can't play there. Everybody knows that Colwill is a dreadful left-back. So don't play him there. He's a really good centre-half or a fairly woeful left-back. Where does Pochettino decide to play him? Exactly. And the fact that he got done last night, like Isaiah Jones was recently playing for Tooting and Mitcham. And he's been done. We've seen it time and time again. So this is Pochettino's fault. It is not Levi Colwill's fault. Think about Raheem Sterling. He started on the left of a front 3, moved to the right, and then when we're desperate, he's down the middle. I thought the tactics were all wrong when we were chasing the game as well. Bringing on Broja, bringing on Mudryk, having 4 threats up front when the game is actually only at half-time. We didn't need to go for the jugular the way that we did, which again I think was really naive management. I think he was worried about the reaction to losing the game. The reaction to losing 1, whereas in actual fact, it's half-time. So it's another example of really bad management. And basically, he can't motivate these players. It's there for all to see. He cannot motivate these players. Did you see? It represents Chelsea so perfectly. Did you see the difference between The geezer Hackney who scored and Moises Caicedo. Moises Caicedo, £115 million. Pochettino's going to work some magic with him. It's going to be our Dembele. All right. Did you see? One player wanted to score. The other player didn't care whether the other player scored. Caicedo basically stopped, basically watched him. It was in that very moment that the tie was just about and represented exactly by the two clubs. Who wanted it more? Who had the fight? Who had the dog in them? Who was desperate to win? And basically, that Hackney kid broke his neck to get there, and Caicedo decided to stop. Didn't particularly care. So yeah, this is it now. And I think it is fair to say that we are basically the same team, if not a little bit worse than we were under Graham Potter. There's nothing. There's no improvement. I haven't seen one thing. And people will say now, it takes time. Well, I mean, it doesn't, does it? It didn't take Ange Postecoglou long. It didn't take Eddie Howe long. They had an immediate impact. Like, think of the work that was done by Eddie Howe at Newcastle. He went in, right? And yes, he did spend money, but he also elevated the performances of the players that he inherited. He drastically improved the performances of Jamal Lascelles, for example. Has Pochettino done that to any Chelsea player? Has any Chelsea player played in a better way than they did under previous managers? I honestly don't think that there is one example of it. And you've got to also remember that Pochettino had a full pre-season. He has no European football to distract him or trouble him. But whatever he's doing in training, it's just not working. And until we sack him, these results are going to continue. It is time to say goodbye. And do you know what? Not even thank you. This is very much a case of don't let the door hit you on the way out, because you should have never been given a job, Pochettino. As I said before, the geezer is a Tottenham lemon, and the fact that he is in the home dugout at Stamford Bridge makes no sense to me. Pochettino belongs in tears in the away dressing room, consoling Danny Rose as their title dream ends. He belongs crying in the away dressing room at Stamford Bridge. The fact that he is in the home dressing room is a travesty. And this is a crucial point here. If anyone has any thoughts on this, why does nobody talk about it? Read any paper, any reputable publication, listen to any reputable publication, and nobody is questioning Mauricio Pochettino's job. Think about how people talk about Eddie Howe at Newcastle. They say he needs to be sacked. People talk about Eric Ten Hag. They say he needs to be sacked. People would have spoken about Frank Lampard, out the door. Steven Gerrard, out the door. Graham Potter, out the door. I can't find one headline that says Pochettino sacked. Pochettino needs to be sacked. It is important that Chelsea sack Pochettino. Pochettino is not worthy of the job. Why are people not asking that question? And I honestly do not understand it. I understand that it happens on YouTube because people like me, we don't care about carrying favour with the club. We don't need the club's favour. We don't need the club's blessing. I don't need the press officer at Chelsea to do me any favours. I don't need the press officer or the comms officer at Stamford Bridge to make sure that Pochettino answers my question so I can tell you the truth. The fact that we are not seeing this on any back pages, I think is really troubling because his performances have been abysmal. 26 games, 12 victories. Sack the geezer now. Woeful. Let me know your thoughts anyway. Do you agree? Very interested to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much, and please do me a favour if you've enjoyed this video. Give it a like, and please do click subscribe. See you soon.